people want to and would live inside the city if they could.
Right.
Yeah.
And why that matters is that when you live inside the city, your economic opportunities are higher. Right? This whole thing where can you, like if you can't afford the rent in the city and you have to move out to Newfield, well, how do you get a new job out in Newfield if you don't have a car?
Right.
You can't make it to the job interview on time,
That's right.
much less make it to the job every day,
Right.
you know,
Right.
to get up the money that it takes to get a car so that you can get a better job, just live inside the city. It's,
Right.
it's backwards.
Yeah.
And how can your kids, if they can't stay after school to get tutoring, because they know that they can just walk home,
Yeah.
Right.
if they can't stay to join the chess club or to play on the soccer team, well, how are they going to get a resume that's good enough to get into a college that'll help them get a good job?
Right.
When we push people away from the centers of economic opportunity, which is
Right.
what we've been doing, when you do that, you trap them in a cycle of poverty.
Right.
And it is absolutely a choice. A lot of us just believe these things happen to us. They believe the rent is too high. That's just the way of things. Man, I don't know why it happened, but it happened. Well, I do know why it happened.
Right.
The rent is high because our elected officials refuse to build housing, even though we know that we are in a housing crisis. And I
Right.
think we have to support the people on the ballot who will stand behind more housing and will stand up for those of us who need it.
And taxes also play a part in
Yeah.
that as well,
Fair.
where the more they raise up the taxes,
Yep.
the harder for you
Yep.
to make it.
That's right. And we are in a, again, these things sort of work in cycles. Like if we had more people living in the core of the city, you would have more people splitting the cost of all the services, right? If there's 35,000 people splitting the cost of 60 police officers, that's better than 30,000 people splitting that cost, right? The cost for everybody comes down. We've been able to achieve some of that over the last 3 years. I don't know if you know that my first budget, when I came into office, I inherited a $3 million deficit. It's the largest in the city's history.
Okay.
We erased that deficit in the first year. And we had the lowest tax increase since the year 2000. Right? It was in 13 years. The next year, the tax increase was even lower. This past year, we actually lowered the tax rate, even though we were spending more money.
Right.
How do you do that? It's because there were more people inside the city paying taxes. Right? Now, that doesn't work if all of the growth happens out in the county. And the reason it doesn't work is because if you put 100 people in the center of the city, you don't need to grow your fire department because all those people will be in one building. That building is safe, it's new, and it doesn't take any longer for the fire department to patrol it. It doesn't take any longer for the police department to patrol it either. You don't have to build new sidewalks because the sidewalks are already there. You don't have to pave new streets. You don't even have to build new water mains or sewer mains. Right? But if you build 100 homes outside the city, in the country, well, now you have to pave a new street, not just the first year, but every year. Now the sheriff has to patrol a new road past those 100 homes. You have to expand the fire department so they can make it all the way out to that 100th home. You have to build new sidewalk, you have to build new sewer lines and new water mains. So now you actually have to increase taxes
Right.
just to keep up with that growth. But if you put that same number of people in denser housing in the core of the city, then you can service them while lowering taxes. And it's worked so far.
Well, my thing is that they are taxing more things is being taxed. The sidewalk tax. It's so many different taxes now that they're laying off firefighters, and you need firefighters.
Right.
This is something when somebody go to sleep, and some electrical catch on fire. Somebody fall asleep with a cigarette in their hand and burn up the mattress and everything. And the firefighters is the first thing there, So why would you get rid of him?
Right.
And he's saving lives, and you weren't and hiring taxes and sidewalk taxes and laying this man off, and this man can save a life.
Right.
And I'm really against that because when you want to close down fire engines and try to emerge them and taking jobs from them, and they saving lives.
Right.
I ain't never seen a firefighter, they try to save a life.
Right.
They putting their own life on the line to go in the building and get somebody out of there.
It's true. It's very dangerous work.
Of course it
And
is.
It's very thankless work. And we haven't had to lay off any firefighters here, thankfully. But we do see, so I don't think, like all of these things are important, right? It's not like you can and should I don't like to pit sidewalks, for example. Sidewalks are very important, especially for people who don't have cars. Seniors having smooth sidewalks. I don't know if you guys have noticed all the sidewalk work we've done lately.
Yeah.
And that's very important for like little kids and for seniors and for getting around without a car. But the fire department's important too. The truth is that we shouldn't have to be making these choices, and we wouldn't have to be if Cornell University, which is our largest employer in the county, and the single largest property owner, I mean, they own property in excess of $1 billion in value, and they don't pay any property taxes on their campus. No property taxes.
How is that?
How is that? So the state law has said that any institution of higher ed, any college or university is tax exempt, right? Which makes some sense. You want the schools to do what they do, which is educate people so that they can go out and change the world. So,
but they charging people.
So that would, right, exactly. They charge them $50,000 a year. Their endowment now is $6 billion. So this isn't some small school that couldn't pay taxes. This is the largest employer in our community. It's the driver that drives the most traffic over the streets, the most calls for service from the fire department. The police department has to be extremely active because the university is there. And then where they should be paying $30 million a year, they make a small contribution of $1.25 million. Right. Exactly. So we have been trying over the last 4 years to impress upon President Scorton what the university needs to do to be a better neighbor. We never quite got there. We have a new president now. I don't know if you know President Beth Garrett. Who seems great, and she seems to, she was a law professor and she studied government. She seems to get how important it is for them to be a good neighbor, and I hope that we can have a more productive conversation. But I'd say stay tuned over the next year.
Exactly. You're right, because Cornell, I mean, they want the sidewalks clean, they want this, so they use everything that's in the city. They use it. So I mean, why not contribute to it?
Right. And that's why the streets are full of potholes. It's because you've got all these folks coming to and from Cornell every day, students and staff and faculty and visitors and alumni. It's a fallacy to think that we only pay for the things that are right in front of our house. When we pay property taxes, it's not just for the stretch of road in front of our house. It's for all the roads that lead to our house and away from our house. When Walmart pays property taxes, it's because they need a road that connects all the way to Walmart and back, and they need that road to be well lit. They need it to be safe, so it's got to be patrolled by police officers. And they need a fire department and a building department that makes everybody feel safe and secure. Cornell needs all those things too. And Cornell's argument has been, well, we hire a lot of people, so we shouldn't have to pay taxes. That's not how it works.
No, it doesn't.
That's not the social compact. The social compact is, if you use a service, you pay for it.
Exactly.
And when we all pay, we all benefit. And I think I shouldn't say it's just Cornell. I think colleges and universities all over the country are guilty of breaking the social compact. And of hurting the communities that they are a part of.
They benefiting from it and don't want to dish nothing out. You eating all the crops and the food is being, but you don't want to give nothing to it towards making and fixing things up. That doesn't work that way.
Like the goose and the chicks. She got her chicks, and she asked all these people to help her bake the bread, and nobody want to help her. Then when the bread get baked, everybody wants
thank you. Eat it all up.
Right. It's very true. So we're trying there, but I think the key is you got to get more from the university. You got to get them to pay their fair share. You got to do what you can to create jobs. Do what you can to make sure those are good paying jobs. And you got to bring the rents down, bring the property taxes down by making room for more people in Ithaca. And now there is a way to do all of that while keeping Ithaca the great place it is to live, the beautiful place it is to live. And everybody's always nervous. They say, well, more people, I don't know. To me, the best part about living in Ithaca is the Ithacans. I think Ithacans are some of the greatest people in the world. I think if the world needs more of anything, it needs more Ithacans. And I think we will be happier when we have more neighbors who can help us babysit our kids and watch out for our neighborhoods and advocate for us and throw block parties with us and open restaurants that we'll go to and and work in. And that's, I think the city of Ithaca can only become a more special place if we do this in the right way.
You see, if the living wage was here and everyone got a living wage, the economy would boom because the money would be going right inside of here, and it'd be turning over, and people would have, and it wouldn't be no lack of nothing.
So true, and that's not just opinion. That's like a fact. When you raise the pay of your lowest paid workers, they spend that difference right away.
Right.
It's not like they squirrel it away or send it into the stock market where it joins this global swirl of capital. It now gets spent right at your local owned businesses because there are things they need. Deferred maintenance, we'd call it in public infrastructure terms, right? Their kids have needed braces. They're not going to get braces online, right? No. They're not going to go to Indiana and buy braces. They're going to go to the local dentist and get braces for their kids. They're going to go to the grocery store and buy groceries from them. You know, this is how it works.
Right. And so, being that we talked about how we see a lot of workers, construction workers, ground workers, they was fixing up, but we looked at them, and some of them not even from this town, this county. They just get their money and they gone. They take it out of the community, so there's nothing to recycle in this community. Yeah. So apparently they get, well, if the contract came from Syracuse, if it came from Binghamton, they men are taking their money and they gone. Yep. And nothing is being recycled, nothing is being generated here, nothing is being, fulfilled here. And so this is why Ithaca has no jobs. This is why they're lacking in this and the living wage, because they're not trying to hire people
and get people here
and keep it here to rotate it.
Right. And that's a two-pronged, that's a real problem. And I think the answer is, there's two answers, two parts to the answer. First is that we can create incentives to hire people locally. We'd have to do that through a tax abatement program or any one of, we could do it through zoning, we could do it through any number of different policies. But I think the best thing we could do is begin to build a base of talent. What a shame, we were talking about all the young men that we see, able-bodied, right, who, if they were taught how to swing a hammer, right, taught how to fix plumbing, they'd be on their way to six-figure jobs. These are good-paying jobs. Yeah. A lot of these are jobs with benefits, right? But our local unions have not done a great job of recruiting and training young people, particularly people from downtown Ithaca, people who grew up in the city. Right. Too many of our laborers are from, they live out in the outskirts of the county, even in other counties. Right. If we trained our workforce so that when a big construction project came in, say there's going to be a hotel, we would actually have the workers to build that hotel here on the ground. A lot of times, we'll have developers who say, "Okay, I want to hire local, but you only have 10 electricians. We need 20. You only have 5 plumbers. We need 15." So we have to go to Pennsylvania and find these folks. What a shame that is, because we have young people who are unemployed or underemployed right here in the city.
And don't have the skills, because no one want to teach them the skills to do them.
They don't have an apprentice. They don't have an apprentice policy here.
Yeah.
Get paid as you learn. Yep. They don't have that, and that's a shame, because when we were growing up, they had that. You want to learn this? I can show you how to do this. Yeah. You may not didn't make a living wage right off the bat, because they want to make sure you're going to stay there to learn this, instead of just taking the money, put in your pocket and run.
But you'll get that.
But eventually, yes, you'll move up to that.
And some of the unions wanted to do it. They got you. But they didn't fulfill what they were supposed to do.
Yep. Right.
I see our time is up, so we'll see you next time. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
That was great.
That's what I came for. Hey, girl, you heard what I